Hey YouTube, it's your girl Yona Marie, and today I want to give y'all some simple songwriting tips. Yona Marie music, create with me. Now, if you're a beginner at songwriting, if you're an intermediate songwriter, if you feel like you're an advanced songwriter who just wants to brush up on some skills, always look for knowledge, check these tips out. Some of these might really help you along your career. Tip number 1, pretty simple, study other songwriters. Now, I'm sure you have songwriters that you really love and respect that are in your genre, but go outside the box. Don't just study R&B songwriters if you're an R&B artist. Think outside the box. Study some country writers, study some metal writers. Like, study the history of songwriting way before you were born. Don't just focus on what's hot right now in the songwriter world. The more you study, the more you'll get ideas that'll just pique your creativity, maybe take your future projects to the next level, and you weren't even expecting it. So you want to study people's processes. Maybe you can find YouTube videos of other songwriters that might not be big names, but they can walk you through their process, walk you through their inspirations, and show you a different perspective on the process. Maybe you want to study celebrity interviews of some of your favorite songwriters, some of your favorite musicians. See how these successful celebrity writers have grown in their music career, especially in the industry as a person that's making money. See how the connections they have made, the experience they have been through has changed their view on their songwriting process, because maybe they can help you out just by telling their stories. Sometimes it's fun to just check out the history of the music world, like check out the Billboard top 100 songs over the last few years and see who has had a hand in composing these songs. Like, who was the producer? Who was the writer? Where did the writer come from? Like, were they in a team? How did they grow up? What type of schools did they go to? What type of experiences did they go through with other artists? Like, what genres are they creating in? You might find that some of your favorite writers have written in other genres that you wouldn't even thought about. And then study those genres. See how those genres relate to what you're doing in your own musical journey. Studying other songwriters is a great way to grow your craft without even spending a lot of money. Like, sometimes you'll be able to find everything you need just with Google, YouTube, other search engines, free. It's completely free just to get knowledge, like on a thing that you love to do, that you're passionate about yourself. Like, you can get lost for hours. Tip number 2, study music theory. Now, a lot of people might be starting to shake their head as soon as I say music theory. They're like, I ain't doing that. I don't know nothing about the fundamentals. That's too much. I'm past grade school. I missed my boat. You know, I'm too old to be learning the basics of theory, learning that boring stuff. Don't play yourself by missing out on what music theory can do for you, especially as a composer, especially as a songwriter. As a creative person, you can learn how music grew across centuries. You can learn where the basics of these melody ideas have come from that you might not be even aware of, that you're using in your regular songwriting process. Like, the more you understand the fundamentals of everything, the more ideas can just click into your brain, just like that. And I'm not talking about learning like advanced musical theory. You don't need to learn stuff where the extreme music nerds are the only ones knowing what they're talking about. I'm talking about basics of music theory that a lot of songwriters and artists feel like they don't need. And it's really showing when they show material that they've written. It's like, oh, I can tell that person didn't have that musical ear to understand how that part should have been written differently. People with musical knowledge, especially that can understand it on a very technical basis, will read you if you don't know how to read music. These people are actually some of the people that you're depending on to like your material. Like, it's not just about the fans. It's about the key music players in the industry. Another underrated tip that a lot of songwriters don't think of, because people don't focus on lyrics so much these days when it comes to music, is studying other poets and writers. Like, don't just study like musicians. Don't just study people that's on the music, the melody, the chords, the progressions, the music theory side. What about the art form that is lyrics and poetry itself? Like, a lot of people are missing out on that. And sure, you know, pop music doesn't have that much depth. So if you're writing in pop, you might say, okay, I don't need nothing that advanced. If I start getting too crazy and abstract with my lyrics, nobody's gonna like them. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying go crazy. I'm not saying start adding your Robert Frost style and your Edgar Allan Poe style when you're getting into your songwriting. You don't have to go that literal when it comes to your studies. I'm just talking about getting ideas, expanding your mind, expanding your horizon. You don't want to just create songs based on everything that you've heard regurgitated in the last 10 years. There's way more. You can put so much more into the poetry of your lyrics if you just take the time to study it. And remember, that art form is a part of the music as a whole. Another tip is to regularly do songwriting exercises. Some of us songwriters do not have the motivation when we're writing, like especially if you're doing it for a job. That doesn't mean the motivation is just going to automatically be there that day when you're doing your job. So sometimes you got to get your brain flowing with creativity in like different ways to really bring out the best ideas from you at that moment. And songwriting exercises, especially the fun ones, can really help. Like doing a freestyle exercise or taking the time to write a song backwards. Or maybe like a word association exercise. Like you pick random words and then you create a song based on that. It could be a ridiculous word, but it'll have you thinking and, really getting excited about the process of songwriting without putting that pressure behind it. One of my favorite things to do is this 10-minute song. Like sometimes if I'm not feeling like a songwriter, I'm not feeling like I got any good ideas right now coming out of me, I'll take 10 minutes aside, put a break on, put a pause on whatever project I'm trying to do, and just get my brain going. So I'll just make a whole separate song, give myself a 10-minute time limit. It don't matter what the song is, it don't matter what it's about. I'm just gonna write a full song. I'm talking 2 verses, a chorus, a bridge, an intro, an outro in 10 minutes. It can be ridiculous, it can be crazy, it has to be original, and that's it. And of course, you're not gonna come up with the best song in the world out of that exercise, but you're gonna have fun, you're gonna be challenging yourself, you're gonna get your brainwave flowing in the right way, you're gonna feel way less stressed about the actual project that you're worried about, and it just puts you in a better mindset to make good music. And my last tip is pretty simple, just write collaboratively with other artists. Now, I know a lot of songwriters, especially independent ones, like doing their own thing. I like doing my own thing too. Sometimes I'm thinking about, how am I going to work well with this other songwriter? I got a whole different style. The song's not going to go the way I wanted to go fully. I need complete control. Sometimes we get a little control freaky when it comes to our music, when it comes to our babies, our crafts. But a lot of times you can just collaborate with another artist on a song that maybe you don't feel so much control over to the point where you're stressing over it, feeling like, it won't be good enough. Have fun. Get really just laid back, relaxed with other artists, other creators, other writers, and see their process in real time. It's just like studying other songwriters, but on top of that, y'all can benefit from each other's ideas. Y'all can bounce off of each other with ideas y'all wouldn't have thought of on your own. Like singing and writing with other people, I'm telling you, it's an underrated way to boost your creativity as a creator, as a songwriter. So don't miss out on those opportunities, with your friends, people in your network. Sometimes it's a really fun challenge to just collab with somebody that's a complete stranger. You might not know them, they might be from across the seas, and they just happen to be making music in your genre. They reach out to you on something like SoundCloud. They're like, hey, let's make music. Sometimes people are like hesitant for things like that. I like to see those as opportunities for both parties to grow, regardless of the reach, regardless of how far y'all think the song can go. It's just about the process. It's about the experience. So stay tuned for more tips I will be hitting you up with likely next week. And I will be bringing you so much more. So keep your eyes on this channel.